Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today, we're gonna check how to play with Aina Winchester. But before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So, first of all, Aina is gonna be a Protect Human type character. These are two excellent traits. Well, Protect more than Human. Human is supported, yes, supported, but it is not like Demon. Demon is like everything helps Demon. But even so, there are some things that are going to help Aina. So, for skills, she has Fastest Shot, which is going to be the pure green skill. Range attack, hold evade, 7-second cooldown, concentrates and deals a range attack that rapidly shoots enemies 3 times. With one green supporter, increases speed by 10% for 5 seconds. 2 green supporters add 2 additional attacks. 3 supporters increase critical damage by 250%. This is probably the strongest pure color skill, so be sure to use it whenever you use a pure green build. This won't be as effective on mixed builds, but you could use it on VR. I don't think like it's a good idea, but if you want to on a mixed build, it's okay-ish. Then, Drone Shooter. Drone Shooter is a perfect dodge, 12-second cooldown. During an extreme dodge, calls one automatic attack drone and then calls one healing drone when a set effect is applied. 3 green, increase damage of the automatic attack drone. 3 blue, increase the duration of the automatic attack drone. 3 red, instead of automatic attack drone, calls a laser drone and performs a charge attack. So, the base effect of this is pretty unimpressive. Like, the automatic attack drone is not bad per se, but nothing in Aina's kit is going to benefit from doing multi-hits with all of her skills, and that's a constant problem that we're gonna see. The best color is definitely red because of the huge damage that it deals, and this is a skill you want to use like always when you're doing solo content and you don't have a healer, because it provides healing. It basically puts a healing area similar to Emily's that is going to heal you. A very bad aspect of this character, and it's going to be a trend as well, is that this doesn't specify the percentages or how much it heals. Like, it's not damage based, it's going to be a region, but is it like based on total HP, based on missing HP? It doesn't say, it just says that it heals you. So I hope that whenever Gremory decides to rework this character, they help us by giving like the missing things in the definition of the skills. Then, Quad Burst. Quad Burst is going to be a range attack, double dash, 8-second cooldowns, performs an air attack by calling 4 drones and crossfire in a fan shape. 2 green, increases speed by 10% for 5 seconds. 2 blue, stuns the enemy. 2 red, increases attack range by 25%. Unfortunately, this skill is very weak. And I mean very, very weak. It is usable for sure, but there are disadvantages. Number 1, as you see, you do a dash, and with the second dash, it summons what's the name? The drones, yeah. It summons the drones, and the drones don't immediately shoot. They have it's not exactly wind up animation, but it is that. You have to wait a little bit before they fire, and that's really bad. When the enemies are following you, yeah, you get a little bit of distance between you and them, but they might also be close enough to actually hit you, and that's pretty bad. So this needs to be faster when inflicting the attack. And the other bad part about this skill is the fact that the effects are pretty unimpressive. Like, the 25% that our AoE increase is noticeable, but not good enough in my opinion. And the 10% speed increase on 5 seconds is useless. Like, 5 seconds is just too short. If it's 5 seconds, make it a 20%, then it's worth it. If it's 10%, then make it a 10-second effect. Other than that, it's not usable. But obviously they don't want to give you that much because of the cooldown, because it would overlap and that's not ideal. And the stun is just a whatever effect that they can use on PvP. But not my favorite, even so. Then, Suicide Drone. Suicide Drone is a range attack, hold attack, 12-second cooldown, and it says, call multiple drones and explode them to deal an area attack to the enemies in front. 1 blue stuns the enemy, 2 blue increases attack range by 50%, and 3 blue increases critical rate by 50%. So, the main problem of this is that the area of attack, there are two problems. The area of attack, even with the 50% increase, is still small, especially in very big stages. Like on floor 100 of tower, it's like, yeah, it's big-ish, but not big enough to hit every single enemy. So yeah. The other thing is that this skill focuses on dealing damage on an area, and that's why its damage is not very high. It should be. The pure color skills need to be able to deal a ton of damage to destroy the bosses. If you do this kind of build, a blue build, against a boss, you're not gonna feel that it's doing enough damage. That's the issue with this one. Like the biggest one. The AoE is also an issue. But it's manageable to some degree, so I hope that Gremory decides to buff this with the pack or something. Then, Bullet Dance. Range attack, dash attack, 5-second cooldown, spins and moves in the specified direction and deals an area attack by shooting in all directions. Damage increases as the cooldown time increases. So, that sounds kind of weird, but two of the effects in this skill, two of the set effects, are going to increase the cooldown of this skill, which seems bad, but you're gaining damage. So it is okay. With 2 green, adds 1 additional attack, which is, it sounds like unimpressive, but it's actually pretty fine because of the low cooldown. You're gonna deal a ton of damage. Then, 2 blue, calls a drone instead of moving and deals an additional attack, shooting together. The cooldown time increases by 2 seconds. So yeah, it is awkward because instead of doing this dash that you attack in something like a cone to both sides, it's gonna be different. You're going to focus on the enemy in front of you, and then the drone is going to attack as well, which is pretty good for multi-hits, but as I mentioned, we don't have that many things that abuse multi-hits on the supporter departments. So yeah. Then, with 2 red, call a laser drone that performs a charge attack. The cooldown time increases by 5 seconds. So this is going to add a laser drone, and that's pretty good because it gives you a nice AoE. All of these skills are usable. Probably the easiest one to use are red and green. Those are pretty good. Blue is a little bit more niche, but not bad in my opinion. Then, Combat Style. Combat Style is going to be a range and melee attack at the same time. It's a double dash, 6-second cooldown. Perform a charging attack with a knee kick, and then performs a continuous attack shooting forward. So yeah, you're going to do a couple multi-hits, but the big disadvantage here, is that this is going to put you in front of the enemy. Which, I mean, it is not that bad, but for range attackers it's not the greatest. Then, this is also the skill that works on the main supporter. With main green, increases speed by 10% for 5 seconds. With main blue, increases defense by 10% for 5 seconds. With main red, increases damage by 10% for 5 seconds. So, I don't like the percentages, neither the percentages nor the duration, but I guess it's acceptable because of the short cooldown. That's why they decided to go with this. And green and red are easy to use, but blue, well, there's ways to do awkward defensive builds with Aina. I wouldn't recommend it. Like, it is not the best idea to make a defensive build on someone who is not going to do anything as a tank. Like, she's only going to survive if you build her as a tank, and that's it. She doesn't offer anything else. She's basically a counter if you want to use that role. Then we have Buster Shooter. Buster Shooter is a range attack. It's a basic enhancer, so it says enhance normal attacks to deal an additional attack with charge drone. So increases attack speed by 5%, increases attack speed by 10%, increases particle amount charged by 50%. Not that bad of a basic enhancer. I gotta admit, the drone thing is not that impressive. The speed increase is already good. The particle charge amount is very good. I think they need to rework this one. I mean, in my opinion, I didn't like that much the drone here. But if you like it, it's okay. Then, Triple Burst. Triple Burst is going to be the all red skill. This is going to be range attack, hold, evade, 16-second cooldown. Call 3 drones that deal area attack in a straight line to enemies. Increase damage with 1 red, increase damage by 10% for 10 seconds. 2 red performs an additional attack at the end of the skill. 3 red increased skill damage by 150%. So this is almost good. The only thing that is bad about this skill is the casting speed. Like, everything else is pretty good. The damage is nice. The AoE is nice. The combos are nice. Everything is okay. Except for the casting speed. It's kind of too slow in my opinion. If this was a little bit faster, then it wouldn't be a problem. But right now, in my opinion, the green fastest shot is definitely the strongest skill for all 3 colors. Then we have Bullet Storm. Bullet Storm is a range attack. During normal attacks, hold attack, 9-second cooldowns. Perform a continuous attack by spraying bullets in all directions on the spot. Damage increase as the cooldown time increases. Guess what? This skill also increases the cooldown depending on what color you use. For green, it adds 4 additional attacks. Pretty good effect. Like, this already deals a ton of hits, but adding 4 additional attacks is very good. 2 blue calls 1 additional automatic drone. The cooldown time increases by 3 seconds. Pretty bad. This is the worst color that you can use for Bullet Storm, blue. You don't want to. The drone is not worth it, in my opinion. At least not until we receive something that procs on hits. A supporter that procs on hits, similar to Whitefeather Aska. Lastly, call a laser drone and performs an additional charge attack. The cooldown time increases by 7 seconds. This is gonna be on 2 red, and it's almost as good as green. Green is better because of the low cooldown. This is going to deal more damage, and I mean more damage, because it has the extra effect of cooldown increase on 7 seconds. That is very, very long. But that's also a disadvantage because you cannot spam it. But in exchange you get an additional attack that do those lasers from above, and that's gonna clear any wave, basically. So yeah, it's pretty good. Last we have the Awakening skill, Trick Shot. This is gonna be a range attack. Immediately after enemy attack, evade, that's a counter. 6-second cooldown, performs a range attack by shooting 4 times to the front after a backflip. 1 green reduces the cooldown time by 20%, 1 blue makes the enemy groggy, and 1 red increases skill damage by 25%. Pretty bad. It doesn't offer anything, that's the issue. Like, maybe the damage is good-ish, but the pure builds are way better on this character. There's few reasons, there might be, but there are few reasons to actually go mix with this character. So, yeah, and besides, it doesn't offer any kind of good effect. It doesn't offer, I don't know, debuffs, buffs, or anything at all. Like, and another thing, another reason why you do not want to use this. Aina's healing is only available on pure builds. So this doesn't work. So yeah, never use trick shot. I mean, you can if you want. You can do a tank build with different colors, but why would you? Like, we're still missing the leader skill on this character. So maybe a leader skill could fix it. But I think that the leader skill, whenever they release it, is gonna revolve around the drones. Which, if the drones inflict a debuff, it will be good. Or if the drones attack, they give you buffs, that will be good. That would actually make more viable strategies with different skills that she has. But right now, it's not the best. We're gonna start with VR. Because I already have the build for VR. And I'm gonna go on 50, 51. So, very quickly, let's focus on Aina. Aina is going to be using on the sub weapon, whatever weapon is level 5 plus 14, and on the main one is going to use butterfly cannon, but it's S level 4 plus 14. Obviously, we have wind anti-demon, whatever Magatamas. We're going to be using a mixed build, so we're going to use bullet storm. We're also going to use bullet dance, and we're going to use combat style. We're using these two because we're going to do a white feather Asuka strategy. Unfortunately, like, Aina doesn't take advantage of both effects of white feather Asuka, but she is very good for using the super armor break passive. Like, she's amazing on that part. I'm going to use Yamato as well as Heviko. Heviko is just to guarantee the debuffs, because I think that my team itself doesn't focus on debuffs, so I decided to put an extra debuff and then use Susune to increase the damage. Besides, Heviko is always really good, so it's pretty easy to use. So here we have Aina. Obviously, we're gonna use a healer since Aina is not pure color. She cannot heal herself, so we need Lapis or another kind of healer. I'm going to use the Anaro strategy, so I'm using the Momochi weapon with anti-demon, whatever Magatamas, whatever weapon, both 5 out of 5, both plus 15. Then piercing dash, gem support, moral boost, along with Lilim, Bright and Rose, and Nana. And for the third character, I'm going to be using a Spinel. My Spinel has the Wicked Star Kana Blade, but this one is 2 out of 5, plus 15. This has Anti-Demon, Fire and Ice, whatever weapon 5 out of 5, plus 15, whatever Magatamas. Demonic Guard Detonate, Piercing Thirst, and Crystal Shard Burst to deal massive amount of damage, even though my weapon isn't 5 out of 5. Obviously, since I have a lot of buffs, I'm gonna use Kanan, I'm gonna use Arabella, and Onisaki Kirara. And yeah, that's about it. Basically, Aina is only going to be breaking the super armor. That's her role. You can use it pretty effectively if you have White Feather Asuka, but it is not like my favorite pick for this role. She can do it for sure, pretty easy. But what's the issue here? That she is not going to be the best. Because she's not taking advantage of the damage increase that White Feather Asuka is offering. That's why I don't want to use her too much on VR. Like, she could be a dedicated attacker, but I'm still testing her, and I'm gonna try to do VR builds for her. But, like, she has little to offer by herself. She's just a bit stick to some degree. She doesn't offer buffs for the party, debuffs, control, anything. She's just a selfish attacker. Okay, spiders. Yeah, the lasers are pretty good on red. I actually like these a lot. I mean, they're still usable on other colors. There we go. Green in particular. And there we go, as you can see. Like, she does break the super armor pretty easily. And that's what I like about her. So, yeah. Now, let's test her individually. Like, I have basically only three builds. Uh, why? Because as I mentioned, usually you don't want to play her pure or on a different role other than attacker. So the builds are gonna be kind of limited on that. If you have another strategy with Aina, let me know in the comments. I wanna know if you can use it as something other than an attacker. We're gonna use Bullet Dance again, Bullet Storm again, and Drone Shooter. We need the HP recovery, and we are giving up triple burst. You can use it if you want, but as I mentioned, the casting speed doesn't convince me to use this, so I decided to change it for Bullet Dance. But if you want to change this for combat style, that's also an option. And yeah, that's it. Like, if you have the 4 slot, combat style is pretty good, or triple burst. So yeah, we're gonna be using the same weapons, but now with critical Magatemas. And we're gonna be using Eleanor, Baretta, and Yukina. For those who do not have Eleanor and don't have enough critical rate or enchantment to use Baretta effectively, you can use Stella, you can use Nino, you can use Granny. There's like plenty of options for red. I do not recommend that you use Susune because she doesn't debuff that much. You can use. Let me check. Like, this one is an option, but it's limited as well as this one. You can also use Faust. You can use critical. Yeah, you can use Ibuki, and you can use Homura. In any case, so let's test her very quickly. She's like good enough, I guess. Like as I mentioned, she deals a ton of damage. Look at this. Like, it's clearing the wave. Everyone that was on range, well, that received both hits, the shots and the laser, died. Like this, and this, and... Wait a moment, which is the command? Ah, yeah, it's the perfect dodge. Look, here we have the healing. Yeah, so beating Edwin, that's the thing. Like, she's super good to clear waves of enemies, but she's pretty bad to deal focus damage to one target. So that makes her a really good farmer. I have been farming for her for a while, and after I level her up, and I'm pretty impressed. Whenever I do the tier list again, and I'll do it when I have everyone maxed out, I will certainly put her on top of the farmers. Like, she's on the same range as Micah. Yeah, she's just the easiest to use for farming. Okay, no, I can. I don't need to use the ultimate. Oh, no. Come on, closer. Yes, perfect. I'm gonna start with my skills, and then I'm gonna use the ultimate. Like this, and this, and this, and then ultimate. Perfect. And then Again, skills. Come on. If I manage, that is. Come on, let me. They don't let me. Confused. Did I already kill Edwin? No. It's because the mic is in the way, so I cannot see. Perfect. Very good, very good, very good. Perfect. Nice. There we go. As you see, she is able to deal a ton of damage. But she doesn't explode enemies. Like, she explodes wave of enemies. So yeah, that's what makes her a good farmer. For VR, I wouldn't recommend her. If you want to, yes, you can, but she's just an attacker. She really, those have an identity by implementing those drones, but they don't offer that much. With a leader skill, they could like fix her if the drones inflict some kind of debuff. As simple as that. That would be like a very good fix on her. Now, let's go with a blue build. The same weapons, same Magatamas. We're gonna use Bullet Dance, Drone Shocker, and a Suicide Drone. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do the whole run, guys, because as I mentioned, this doesn't have the damage. I'm gonna show you, but this doesn't have the damage. This is pretty FTP friendly until we reach Anaros. You can change Anaros for whatever you want. Like, depending on what you're facing, you could put Arabella. You can also use, where is she? Lilim. Lilim is a great option. If you need to reduce damage because they're killing you like a ton, use Nana. And as you can see, there's options available for sure. So let's go with this one. The focus is to ensnare the enemies and take advantage of the damage that we have, as well as critical damage, because everything revolves around critical on this build, as well as the butterfly weapons, you know. So yeah, let's test it very quickly. Yeah, so first things first, we're gonna wait for the enemies to gather and let's see. It's the perfect evade and this is the hold attack. Yeah, why didn't... Oh. No, it's the dash. Yeah, as you can see, it is very different from what it used to be, that it does this like sweeping attack. No, now it focuses onto one enemy, and that's kind of weird, but not that bad depending on what you're trying to do. The thing is that blue isn't dealing enough damage in my opinion. Like compared to green and red, this definitely needs some kind of buff. Like just being able to inflict debuffs on hit or gain stacks of a buff would make this character pretty good. Because the amount of multi-hits that she has is very good, very decent. I think that fixing her wouldn't be like very hard with the right leader skill. I do this and I am confused. Oh, come on. As usual. Invincibility on the worst time. Oh, you always do that. Always dodging on the wrong moment. Okay, there. Well, it does deal like a nice amount of damage, but as you saw, it's not good enough. Yeah, it's more of a farming skill, and even as a farming skill, like the range is not good enough for that role. Because you have to, you cannot just launch the skill like Bullet Storm and that's it. You have to position the enemies properly before doing so. Yeah, I'm managing. Like, I don't like this build that much, but it can do the job, yeah, for sure. Healing, yeah, the healing is just great, as you can see. That's why I always recommend that you use... No. Oops. No. That you always use that skill when you're going with a pure build. Actually, you always should use a pure build to begin with, but I guess that not everyone wants to do that. Even though usually those are the ones that have the highest damaging skills. Okay, like that. I should have done the skills, but... There, nice. I think that they have a lot of HP remaining. Okay, a little bit more damage. Unactive. There. The good thing about this skill is that it has a ton of super armor, at least. Yeah, like Aina, with her skills, she doesn't struggle that much with super armor. That's a good thing about Aina. Come on. Oh, no. Well, snare. The disadvantage of not using it properly. Okay. Almost done. Almost done. I'm just going to... Really? Well, it hit. I think it hit. Come on. There. Ultimate. And Oboro is gonna die. And Edwin is about to die too. Yeah. The HP recovery does help, guys. I know that it seems that Aina doesn't use healing, but she should always use the healing. Unless you have a healer. Well, let's finish with Aina using a green build. Green is probably the best and easiest one due to the supporters. And besides, they don't have like wacky synergies, the green effects. So, Bullet Storm, Fastest Shot, and Drone Shooter. Drone Shooter just because of the healing. Not that I like the drone itself. But with these two skills, you're going to be able to farm super easy. And it deals a ton of damage thanks to Nano, thanks to Kowaru, and Suruga. I'm using Suruga instead of someone else to increase my critical damage because I have 4 out of 5 copies on the weapon. If it was 5 out of 5, I could change it for something else, but I want to guarantee those crits. So, critical rate increase it is. So for this one, I just put myself in the center and do this, and then evade and hold evade. Another thing, I didn't mention this, but the butterfly weapon synergizes very well with Aina because of the amount of multi-hits that she's able to do with all her skills. Like, she's gonna obtain stacks of the butterfly weapon super fast. And of course, the speed increase is always very good for most characters in the game, so... There we go. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I just move. Where are you, Edwin? Stop moving. Perfect. Nice. Yeah, this one is way easier to use than the other two. That's why I recommend green. Like, if you want to use this character, the priority is to use a green build, then a red build, and last a blue build. Like, the damage is not optimal on blue. That's the thing. Okay, come on. Use skills. Come on, any skill. they the problem about the skills is actually dealing the first hit. Once they start, it's like they are not going to stop you, but before you do, they can interrupt you. Like, I haven't been able to do this. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do before I use the ultimate. And there we go. Nano. Yeah, just look at the damage. Like, it took me a while to finally do something. But once I did, like, I just deleted everything. That's why I like her on green. She's pretty good on green. So yeah, before we finish, let's talk about the weapons and her role, basically. So, what weapons can you use with her? Here. Let's go with... No, these are supporters, that's why. Weapon. Yuki. What Yuki's weapons, because they share. So for SR, we have Magnum Revolver. Magnum Revolver increases speed by 2% for 5 seconds during normal attacks. Pretty bad, don't use it. Let's see, we also have White Crown. Increases damage dealt to all enemies by 30% while particles are fully charged. Locks you out of the ultimate. That's not good. And also active skills, like, I wouldn't. Like, it's a free damage increase, but it's on an SR, so it's not the best. Bloody Chaser. Bloody Chaser is actually pretty good. If you don't have HP recovery, if you go with a mixed build, and you want to do solo content and you cannot heal yourself, using Bloody Chaser is going to be pretty effective because you are going to gain HP depending on the damage that you deal with your skills. So yeah, be sure to use this whenever you do solo content and you don't want to go pure. The Mileage Weapon, Fire Greek, which is only for this girl, Shiranui, Yukikaze. Yeah. Then we have the snake weapons. You could use the snake weapons for sure. There are builds for snake weapons. If you want to go an ulti spam build, that's also an option. I think that she can perform pretty well because of the amount of multi hits. But of course, the snake weapons have the disadvantage that their stats are not as good as other URs, so maybe you don't want to use them, but you could, just so that you know. Yatagarasu increases normal attacks damage against snare enemies by 15%, 30%, and normal attacks deal damage against random enemies. Like, she does use her normal attacks, but she doesn't focus on those, so I wouldn't recommend it. Then Butterfly Weapon, best weapon that you can equip to her. Be sure to get it if you can. Then PvP weapons. Gigantic Wrath is going to be the demonic weapon. These are pretty bad because no stage lasts long enough to use this and deal a significant amount of damage. And like, there's no characters that have like insanely low cooldowns that they want to abuse this weapon. So no. This one is the same as the snake weapons, but with a different active and with better stats. That's the only thing that actually matters. If you want to use ulti build, use this weapon. These work on all. Increase damage against super armor if you want to. Be sure to. But I think that they're going to change them. the animation is kind of cool, I gotta admit. This one is for Yukikaze only. The Momochi weapon. Kind of one of the best weapons that you can equip to Aina, actually. Why? Because of the insane amount of multi-hits. So she's going to just shred the enemy's defense, or well, increase your damage by a ton. Yeah, this is actually pretty good for her. This is only for Yukikaze. These are for Aina. Increase damage against super armor by 30%. Increase damage of familiars by 20%. So yeah, for those who didn't know, the drones count as familiars. That's why she has this. She can use all the supporters that focus on familiar, but I will admit that we don't have a supporter that increases both damage and damage for familiars, because that would be very good for her in particular. Like, let's say that 60%, no, 40% of her damage would be from familiars, depending on your build, so it is not that you have to focus on it. But the damage increase on super armor is pretty good because most of the time the enemy is going to have the super armor. So it is valuable, I will admit. And the skin is pretty cool. But I think that this is the pack weapon, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is the pack weapon. This is the gacha weapon. Increases critical rate by 15%, 30% when maxed out. Deal damage and stun enemies. The worst weapon that you can put with Aina. Never use this. Don't. Trust me. The Berserker weapon, God. No, don't use this. Like, the Berserker weapons are not great because they force you to go under 20% before you get the effect, and that's pretty risky, and the risk is not worth the reward. So yeah, that's about it for all the weapons that she has. Basically, just use either this one or the pack weapon, but this one has lesser stats and also you have to pay to get it, so that's not a good thing. But soon enough, she will get her limited pack. Like, there's a handful of characters who are still missing their limited pack. If I'm not mistaken, if I go by number, let's see. Aina is a character who's missing her limited pack. Let's see. Phantasma is missing her limited pack. Sora is missing her limited pack. And I think that's about it. And also, of course, Francis, because she just released. So yeah, soon enough we will get that pack, so be prepared for that. And let's just finish by giving you my comments on Aina. So, Aina is an interesting character, but she's wacky because of the way her skills work. Like, she focuses a lot on summoning familiars, but we don't have like the best supporters that focus on familiar damage. Like, for example, a good one is this one, Gear Shisui. Increases damage of familiars by 50% and speed by 10% after using skill. There is a 10% chance to recover HP. But what about the character itself? Like I mentioned, like 40% of the damage that she inflicts might come from familiars. So this is going to strengthen my familiars, but it's not strengthening Aina. We need something that helps familiars and the character itself. Let's see. There's also like, for example, Halloween Sakura reduces damage taken, which is pretty good, and increases familiar damage. That's also good. Like, this you could use, but you don't want to go defensive with Aina. That's the thing. So yeah, that's bad. The fact that her buffs last like nothing, 5 seconds only, and it's at 10%. The fact that she doesn't debuff. The fact that it gains damage by increasing your cooldowns, which is not ideal. Also, the animations doesn't help her. Like, this animation and this animation are not good because they are not fast enough, in my opinion. So yeah, there's a bunch of little details that could be easily fixed if Gremory like makes an effort on that part. I know that they can, and especially on the leader skill. I hope that the leader skill is going to be like pretty good and pretty usable. Like, let's change that skin. And yeah, that's about it, guys. Like, do you need to get Aina? No. As a farmer, she gets outclassed. Like, everyone gets outclassed by Emily or Shisui. And for challenging content, she's not gonna offer that much. You can use her, yeah, but she's not offering anything in particular other than damage and multi-hits. And besides, there's like little things that you can abuse with her multi-hits. because there's not much that can use the multi hit. Like I show you White Feather Asuka, which is a great pick. You could also use Anne Rose to crit on BR and activate the skill of the Momochi weapon. She could work as a debuffer for sure, but like she's only going to be a debuffer that deals a little bit of damage. That's it. That's her role on BR. That's all she's offering. That's why it's difficult to recommend getting her. So if you like this character, do get it. But in my opinion, it's a skip or something that you should get later in the game. So well, what do you think about Aina? Do you think she's good? Do you have other builds to use? Mixed builds maybe? Do you use her on BR? Let me know in the comments. And I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!